In the midst of a war, thousands of people calmly attend a public meeting at the Ramlila grounds, Delhi. They are here not only because of the personal charisma of a leader, but because the ballot is stronger than the bullet, and she gives voice to the will of the people.
सब देशों को स्वतंत्र होने का अधिकार है। सब लोगों को अपनी आवाज उठाने का अधिकार है, अगर उनके मांगे ठीक मांगे हों तो। और हमें पूरा विश्वास है कि जब आजादी की आवाज उठती है, न्याय की आवाज उठती है, भाईचारे की आवाज उठती है, तो हमेशा उसी की विजय होती है। क्यों ये एक दबा हुआ देश, एक काले आदमियों का देश, हम समझते थे कि कुछ नहीं बोलेगा, हमारे कहने पे चलेगा, क्यों इसकी आवाज उठती है? क्यों इसको हिम्मत है अपना रास्ता निकालने को? क्यों इसको हिम्मत है जो वो ठीक समझता है अपने लिए वो करने को? आज ये लड़ाई है। हम समझते हैं कि केवल हम भारत के लिए नहीं लड़ रहे हैं, केवल अपने उसूलों के लिए नहीं लड़ रहे हैं, हम आज सारे दुनिया में जो दबे हैं, सारे दुनिया में जो वर्षों से, आज के नहीं, जो सदियों से दबाए गए हैं, चाहे वो अपने दबाएपन को न पहचान सके, वो अपनी गुलामी को नहीं पहचान सके, लेकिन हम पहचानते हैं और हम जानते हैं कि उससे आज हम नहीं लड़ेंगे तो यही धक्का हमको लगेगा। हम जानते थे कि हमारी आजादी अगर कम हुई तो किसी की मदद हमको मजबूत नहीं रख सकती, और अगर आजादी पक्की होती है तो बिना किसी की मदद के हम मजबूत रहेंगे, जरूर रहेंगे, और जो हमें करना है वो करके हम दिखाएंगे।
That is the spirit of the nation. Victorious, India declares a unilateral ceasefire. It is a master stroke of humanity and politics. The task has been brilliantly accomplished. Bangladesh is born. Out of the flames of disaster, Mrs. Indira Gandhi has helped forward a new and free nation. In crushing Pakistan's ruthless military machine, she has, in the words of one member of parliament, not only created history, but made geography. In Delhi's Central Hall of Parliament, praise for her wisdom and courage is unanimous and fulsome. Meanwhile, the world press does not lag in its appreciation of this modest, patient lady. Commentators, particularly in Britain, France, the Soviet Union, and some even in the USA, acknowledge her excellence as a leader and a strategist. In Delhi, the meeting held under the chairmanship of Vice President Pathak is addressed by many members of Parliament.
We hail the birth of the new state and a great neighbor, Bangladesh. This is a historic creation of the struggles and the sacrifices of millions of people. On this occasion, our minds naturally turn to the architect of this state, Sheikh Mujibur Rahman.
And every country will have to remember that if any country oppresses any part of it, this is what will be the result. That part will be liberated in future. And that is the message of the great action that has taken place today. I again congratulate all of them and the Prime Minister who led the country to this victory. She has succeeded in projecting, I think, a new image of our country and our nation.
People in our neighborhood were suffering, had been suffering for more than 2 decades, and all that belongs to humankind was denied to them. We are happy that we have contributed to the removal of that suffering, and we have served humanity in this manner. She became for the time being, the voice of the people of Bangladesh also. This new state symbolizes the determination of free people. This new state represents the triumph of the spirit of man. I congratulate the Prime Minister, the armed forces, Mukti Bahani, the entire nation on this most historical event here.
Sharing the common ideals of secularism, democracy and justice between man and man, the people of Bangladesh and the people of India will march forward carrying the torch of hope not only for the people of the subcontinent but for the people of the world. Madam Prime Minister, you are not only the leader of the great people of India, you are a leader of the people of Bangladesh. Madam Prime Minister, you are not only a leader of the subcontinent, but you are a leader of mankind as such.
Friends, this function would have been acutely embarrassing had I taken your words literally. But I cannot believe that we are here to felicitate an individual. We are gathered here today, the members of many different parties, representing a very large part of the world's population, to salute the human spirit. We are here to salute the high ideals for which this country has stood and which have brought forth the best in our people in all times of difficulty. The spirit of compassion which motivated Sheikh Mujibur Rahman to feel the deep concern for his people, which was the beginning of this particular struggle for freedom. The spirit of high patriotism which drove all thoughts of danger and hardship from the minds of our brave fighting forces. All the world admires a deed well done, and I think with all modesty we can say that we have done this action well. But let us not forget that the road ahead is still long and very steep, and we have many peaks to scale. Let us hope that we can do this with the same spirit in which we have faced this challenge, and that we will go ahead from peak to peak, raising our nation to new heights of quality and of excellence. I thank you once again, and I want to also welcome, I would like to say a very special word of greeting to our guest, His Excellency, the Ambassador of Bangladesh. He and his people have exhibited this human spirit in no less a manner than we have seen in our country. In fact, our armed forces have fought, but before that it was the young men, some old also, but most of them were young boys of the Mukti Bahini, who with hardly any training, with hardly any equipment, faced one of the most brutal regimes the world has ever known. It was this human spirit which the love for freedom, the love the desire to express themselves, to fight oppression and exploitation. This was what gave them a strength which no weapon alone can give.
Admirable is the gallantry and bravery of the Indian Armed Forces who foiled the aggressive designs of Pakistan's war machine. By capturing the Chicken Neck, our forces posed a serious threat to the vitals of the Sialkot sector. Fighting has stopped, but vigilance, the price of freedom, continues. The Chief of the Army Staff meets Jawans in the Chamb area. General Manik Shaw meets Air Force officers in Pathankot. The Army Chief pays rich tributes to the valiant Jawans who penetrated deep into the Shakkargarh Basantar salient. Demoralized and in disarray, the retreating Pak army left behind truckloads of arms and ammunition in this area. Visiting the military hospital at Udhampur, General Manik Shaw cheers up injured Jawans.
গঙ্গা নদীর ধারে মুদের ঢাকা শহর যে শহরে রক্ত দিল বরকত সালাম জব্বর
Dhaka, after 9 months of agony and struggle, becomes the capital of the People's Republic of Bangladesh. Citizens of Bangladesh recover from the long period of pillage and carnage and breathe the air of freedom.
জাগে ঢাকার শহরে সেই জোয়ার ছড়িয়ে পড়ে বাংলার গ্রাম বন্দরে নতুন দিনের নতুন জোয়ার জাগে ঢাকা শহরে সেই জোয়ার ছড়িয়ে পড়ে বাংলার গ্রাম বন্দরে এই সে শহর যে শহরে বঙ্গবন্ধুর ডাকে
Begum Mujibur Rahman and members of her family are rescued by the Indian Army.
মানুষ নতুন করে সোনার বাংলা মাকে বুড়ি গঙ্গা নদীর ধারে মুদের ঢাকা শহর যে শহরে রক্ত দিল বরকত সালাম জব্বর বুড়ি গঙ্গা নদীর ধারে মুদের ঢাকা শহর যে শহরে রক্ত দিল বরকত সালাম জব্বর যে শহরে রক্ত দিল বরকত সালাম জব্বর
Surging masses of humanity throng the city streets and await the arrival of the cabinet members of the Bangladesh government.
কত মানুষ সব হারিয়ে হইল সর্বহারা, কত মানুষ সব হারিয়ে হইল সর্বহারা। বুড়ি গঙ্গা নদীর ধারে মুদের ঢাকা শহর, যে শহরে রক্ত দিল বরকত সালাম জব্বর। বুড়ি গঙ্গা নদীর ধারে মুদের ঢাকা শহর, যে শহরে রক্ত দিল বরকত সালাম জব্বর, যে শহরে রক্ত দিল বরকত সালাম জব্বর। মাকে মা বলে ডাকতে পেরেছিল যারা, এমন কত মুক্তিকামী নিত্য গেল মারা। মাকে মা বলে ডাকতে পেরেছিল।
The cabinet includes the acting president, Mr. Nazrul Islam, and Prime Minister Tajuddin Hamid. The shifting of the capital from Mujibnagar to Dhaka marks the birth of another nation, the 8th largest in the world, and one committed to friendship for all and malice towards none.
বাংলা মায়ের ছেলে বলে বাংলা মায়ের শহরে রক্ত দিল বরকত সালাম, যে শহরে রক্ত দিল বরকত সালাম জব্বর। এই শহরে শেখ মুজিবের সাধন ভূমি, এই শহরে নব বাংলার তীর্থভূমি, এই শহরে শেখ মুজিবের স্বপ্ন সাধন ভূমি, এই শহরে নব বাংলার তীর্থভূমি। সফল হলো স্বপ্ন মুদের, বলে জয় বাংলা জয় বাংলা। ঢাকার শহর জাগলো আবার মুক্ত সোনার বাংলা, ঢাকার শহর জাগলো আবার মুক্ত সোনার বাংলা। বুড়ি গঙ্গা নদীর ধারে মুদের ঢাকা শহর, যে শহরে রক্ত দিল বরকত সালাম জব্বর। বুড়ি গঙ্গা নদীর জগতবাসী একবার বাংলাদেশকে যাও দেখিয়া রে।
Even as their defeat was imminent, Pakistani troops and collaborators wreaked havoc and destruction in civilian areas.
ওরে পাকিস্তানের বর্বরি আহিয়া, মেশিনে গানার বুলেট বেউনেটি দিয়া জগতবাসী।
Cries the singer, "Look, the Pakistanis have turned golden Bengal into a morgue, a graveyard."
বাঙালিদের পয়সা দিয়া বাঙালিদের গুলি, ওরে অত্যাচারের প্রতিশোধ দে তুলি। বাঙালি তুই বুকের রক্ত দিয়া জগতবাসী একবার।
Not since Hitler has the world seen such wanton massacre.
মায়ের রক্ত বোনের রক্ত ভাইয়ের রক্ত দে, মায়ের রক্ত বোনের রক্ত ভাইয়ের রক্ত দে। ওরে মুক্ত করতে মুজিবরের বঙ্গভূমিকে, বাঙালি তুই দাঁড়ায় অস্ত্র নিয়া জগতবাসী।
In contrast, the Indian armed forces treat Pakistani prisoners of war with a humaneness of which the whole country can be proud. The wounded are given medical treatment, the frightened are reassured. Not since the Second World War has such a massive surrender taken place. Surprisingly, many of the prisoners express amazement at discovering that the Indian armed forces are composed of men of all faiths and religions. Obviously, the Pakistanis have been victims of their own vicious propaganda. The biggest, most stupendous task now is reconstruction. Indian Army engineers build Bailey bridges, pontoon bridges, floating bridges, all kinds of bridges with all possible speed, so that Bangladesh, after its 9-month nightmare, awakes to a dawn of freedom and prosperity. The Pakistan Army had destroyed whatever communications it could in this land crisscrossed by numerous rivers. It is estimated that immediate repairs will cost at least 500 million rupees. That is, 150 million to repair roads and bridges, another 150 million to relink the railways, 50 million to reopen the ports, and an additional 150 million to repair airfields and restore telecommunication facilities. The enthusiastic civilians of Bangladesh work side by side with Indian Jawans in the process of restoration. During the rampage of the Pakistan Army, local people were afraid to receive telephone calls. Intellectuals were invited out, and often only their slippers and spectacles were sent back. Today, the telephone is again a messenger of hope and joy. To make a pun, especially Joy Bangladesh. Postal services are revived by the Indian Army, and long-separated relatives exchange greetings and gladder tidings than ever before. Whatever was plundered from the hapless citizens by the Pakistanis is recovered by the Indian Army and handed over to bank officials of Bangladesh. Just as the youth of Bangladesh had taken up arms to defend the people and free them from the savagery of Pakistan's military junta, the Mukti Bahini now voluntarily lay down their weapons. The war is over. Other tools must be taken up now for an economically stable peace. The surest sign of returning stability is the return of the refugees. The horrors these people have known give way now to dreams. Children who seemed destined for misery and could look forward only to taking up the gun can now think of simple pleasures, and yes, of taking up toys.